Government opponents who had until now banged on pots and pans from their balconies came out onto the streets of Sao Paulo in large numbers to protest for the first time since the pandemic reached Brazil. Their country now has the world's third highest death toll from COVID-19. But they defied their grim reality because their list of grievances is getting long.
I came out despite the quarantine because I have to fight for all of us. Bolsonaro is a threat to democracy and our lives.
Many use the occasion to also show their support for the Black Lives Matter movement.
Bolsonaro doesn't care about black lives. 54% of Brazilians are black, and we're the ones being hardest hit by COVID and poverty. That's why he does nothing.
But the strongest message was against what many Brazilians see as an attempt by their president and his supporters to subvert democratic institutions, especially the Supreme Court, which Bolsonaro threatens to shut down.
Bolsonaro is a fascist, and I don't want this country to turn into a dictatorship. I already lived through that.
I asked former Brazilian ambassador to Washington and the UN, Rubens Recupero, if describing Bolsonaro as a fascist was perhaps going too far.
He has, as I said, all the traits of a fascist. He is a defender of using weapons in political struggle, of using violence. He is an unapologetic defender of torture in the military regime. So you see, it's frightening.
In Rio de Janeiro, a group of Bolsonaro supporters ridiculed his opponents, calling them the antifas, or antifascists. Meanwhile, the president went out to greet his followers without a face mask, as he's been doing every Sunday. Bolsonaro says he wants to arm Brazilians to defend the country from internal enemies. He has also named a retired military officer, one of 3,000 he's placed in civilian jobs, as acting health minister. With the pandemic, a deep economic recession, and a political crisis all in high gear, opponents are betting the time is on their side, as long as Brazil's democratic institutions can withstand the test. Lucia Newman, Al Jazeera.